You believed that spiritual awakening was the ultimate destination, didn't you? That it was enough to meditate, see repeated numbers and feel some different vibrations for everything to align like magic. But what if I told you that this was just the easy part? The real transformation begins after the awakening bells stop ringing, and then, my friend, the game changes completely. No one talks about it because it's uncomfortable to admit. You've already woken up, but you're still. And you know what's worse? You're waiting for another sign, when, in fact, you are the sign. If you're feeling stagnant even after all that wave of awareness, this video will nudge you. Because here, you will identify the 7 clear signs that your awakening has already happened. And that now the universe wants something else from you, action. There is no turning back. And if you ignore this, you will continue to repeat cycles that no longer make sense. But if you listen, open up, and act, what comes next, it's liberating. It's no longer about looking for the universe out there, but rather about realizing that it pulsates within you. The feeling of isolation, once so common, simply melts away like mist in the sun. Suddenly, the world ceases to be a place of tests and begins to be a mirror. Each encounter, each look, each situation carries a piece of your own consciousness. You don't wait for any more signs, you are the sign that others have been waiting for. This new reality brings a deep connection with everything you live. The dog that barks in the street, the wind that crosses the trees, even that unexpected call, everything seems loaded with meaning. The energy of the universe is no longer something distant and becomes its own frequency vibrating in tune with life. This is more than synchronicity, it's fusion. And that's why so many begin to feel an inner call to stop chasing and just be. You no longer need to fill silence with noise, nor emptiness with distractions. Because in that inner silence, you realize that you are not alone, there is inner wisdom, there is a presence. The ego that once screamed, now listens. And that changes everything. It's no longer about surviving in the world, it's about manifesting a new reality from the center of your consciousness. It is in this state of energetic self-sufficiency that spiritual awakening reveals itself not as an event, but as a way of living. A continuous action of aligning oneself, of listening to oneself, of being whole. You understand that you're part of a much larger mission, and that living authentically is the first step. After all, how can you ignore the voice of intuition when it starts to speak louder than logic? Before, doubt was a constant visitor. You consulted friends, read 1,000 articles, watched videos of experts trying to find answers outside of themselves. But now, there's a kind of inner wisdom that just won't shut up. Intuition became his compass, his invisible GPS guided by the frequency of the universe. And the most incredible, she rarely makes mistakes. There is no longer any need for elaborate explanations. You feel what you need to do, and you do. It may seem crazy to those who still live under the command of the ego, but you know, it is in this connection with inner silence that the best decisions are born. Sometimes it's saying no, even when everything seems to require a yes. Other times it is moving, finishing something, starting from scratch, because the so-called inner does not negotiate. A practical example. When you feel restlessness for no apparent reason, don't ignore it. Do a simple exercise, take a notebook and write down what you are feeling, without censorship. Then, sit quietly and just breathe. Often, the answer will come as a whisper, an image, a memory. This is the voice of your spiritual awakening speaking louder than ordinary logic. Trusting in your own energy transforms your reality. Synchronicities increase, obstacles seem to dissolve before they even arise. You understand that acting on that intuition is no longer optional, it's a matter of mission. Because when you really listen, the universe responds. And then, you stop looking outside, because he has already begun to understand where it all begins. There comes a time when the luster of money loses its charm. Not that it ceases to matter, it just changes places on your scale of values. Energy that was once wasted on comparisons, status, and approval begins to be channeled toward authenticity. You stop chasing and start attracting what truly resonates with your mission. It is liberation from the invisible prison of the ego. Now you realize that true abundance is not quantity, but coherence. When your actions vibrate at the frequency of purpose, the universe responds with synchronicity. It's amazing how opportunities arise when you act truthfully. A real example. People who quit their traditional jobs, followed the inner call and today live with more time, more meaning and, curiously, more money as well. Manifestation does not come from scarcity, but from consciousness. It's as if you found the secret code. The more aligned you are with your inner energy, the more the outer reality adjusts. You begin to live as a creator and no longer as a slave to the system. And if fear arises, you face it with inner wisdom, not despair. You have already understood that you are not here to accumulate, but to transform. And this is a type of action that the ego does not understand. That's why you now invest in experiences, not appearances. In books that awaken, such as The Power of Now, or in practices that reconnect you with your center, such as meditation and volunteering. Because the mission is now much bigger than any financial goal. Before, the silence was uncomfortable, it felt empty, lonely, almost threatening. Now, it is a shelter. Inside it, there is a subtle energy that is not perceived when you are surrounded by noise. In the inner silence, you discover answers that books don't teach and advice doesn't reach. It is in this space that consciousness aligns, and you realize that you do not need noise to exist. You begin to protect your vibration as one who guards a treasure. It avoids shallow conversations, parties out of obligation, meetings where the exchange is not genuine. The frequency of your relationships changes, you connect with those who vibrate similarly, and that makes all the difference. Silence ceases to be absence and becomes a powerful presence. And there, your inner wisdom blossoms more clearly. Want a simple practice example? Try spending an hour a day away from your cell phone, without music, without screens. Just you and the sound of the real world. You can walk, meditate, or just sit in a park. This small action rescues the connection with the inner call and recharges your energy in a deep way. It's like coming home after a long time lost. In this new state, even loneliness changes its name, it becomes solitude. You don't run away from it anymore, you cultivate it. And when you're with other people, you're no longer needy, you're whole. Because silence does not weaken you, it reveals you. And this revelation ignites an internal fire that never goes out. There comes a time when you can no longer pretend you don't feel it. It's like an inner pressure that won't let you sleep peacefully if you're not living your truth. This call doesn't come with an instruction manual, but it's insistent and impossible to ignore. When you try to escape, life puts you back on track, sometimes with subtlety, sometimes with slapping. And you understand, your mission is no longer a choice, it is a need of the soul. That inner fire begins to change everything. You can even continue with the same job, the same routine, but inside, something is already different. The desire to contribute, to serve, to transform the world with its authenticity takes the place of superficial ambitions. You can no longer live just for the sake of living. Because you know that your energy was made to move something much bigger than the ego itself. A good start is to look at what you do with ease and passion. Teaching, caring, creating, listening, leading, any of these can be your path. But beware, mission is not about glamour. Sometimes it is in simple gestures, such as listening to someone with presence, or writing something that awakens consciousness in another person. The universe uses your gifts as a tool for transformation. You just have to accept the role. When you respond to the inner call, synchronicities increase, doors open, and even challenges begin to make sense. The action ceases to be an effort and becomes a natural expression of its essence. And even without knowing where it will lead, you feel, it is exactly where it should be. And that, in itself, is already a powerful form of manifestation. You start to notice that nothing is, by chance anymore. Those numbers that repeat on the clock, the unlikely encounters, the book that appears just when you needed it, all of this is no longer a coincidence. They are responses from the universe, signs that you are aligned with a higher frequency. And the more you trust intuition, the more these synchronicities multiply. It's as if the universe speaks to you, in code. This new reality teaches you to observe with eyes of inner wisdom. A random conversation in line at the grocery store can bring an answer. A post on social media can be the confirmation of an inner calling. You become an active part of the cosmic dance, and the feeling of connection is indescribable. Even difficult moments come to feel like warnings or reorientations, and no longer punishments. It's a different way of reading life. Do you want to start noticing more synchronicities? A practical exercise is to write down a clear request on paper and leave it on your desk for 3 days. During this time, be aware of everything: signs, music, messages, conversations. You will be surprised by the coincidences that will arise. This type of action reinforces your conscious manifestation and strengthens your confidence in your own energy. Life ceases to be a sequence of disconnected events and becomes a plot carefully sewn by something greater. And when you realize this, the search for control loses its grace. Because now you understand that true power lies in flowing with the universe, not in trying to dominate it. And it is in this flow that you rediscover your most genuine self-sufficiency. There comes a point in the journey when you just stop asking, "What will they think of me?" The opinion of others, which once shaped their choices, now no longer carries the same weight. This is not arrogance, it is liberation. You become intimate with your own consciousness and come to trust the wisdom within. The ego still tries to scream sometimes, but now it speaks softly, because the heart responds louder. You realize that you don't need gurus, coaches, or holy books to validate what you already know. They are tools, yes, but they do not replace your truth. Intuition became his main advisor. And with that, comes an authenticity that not everyone will understand, and that's okay. The most important connection became with your inner universe, not with the acceptance of others. A simple example: have you noticed how certain once difficult decisions now seem obvious? You say, no, lightly, choose paths that don't please everyone and don't feel guilty about it. This is because the inner call has been strengthened. You trust who you're becoming so much that external validation has become an irrelevant detail. The mission becomes clearer, more urgent. And there's no time to waste on distractions. This emotional self-sufficiency gives you a new attitude towards life. You no longer live on comparisons or the need for approval. He lives on purpose, clean energy, action consistent with the soul. And the firmer this vibration gets, the more your outer reality adjusts. And here comes the inevitable question: if I already understood all this, what am I waiting for to act? Spiritual awakening was not the end, it was only the beginning. There comes a time when studying, reflecting, and feeling are no longer enough. The energy that once prepared you, now drives you to action. You realize that it is time to put into practice everything you have learned in silence, in synchronicities, in inner calls. Because the universe doesn't just need consciousness, it needs aligned motion. You no longer want to consume content without applying. He wants to teach, heal, lead, inspire. And it doesn't matter the format, it can be writing a real post, recording an authentic video, or helping someone in a sincere conversation. The important thing is to get out of the wait. The real manifestation comes from concrete action, done with intention and connection with the mission. And guess what? The world is thirsty for this frequency that only you have. If you are in doubt about where to start small, share a transformation experience on the networks, read Purpose, by Prem Baba, or do a live telling your journey. These small actions open doors that you didn't even imagine. The universe responds to motion. And it is in this flow that your energy multiplies and attracts everything you need, because now, you have become a channel. It's time to live as someone who knows you're already part of the change. Stop searching incessantly and start expressing yourself authentically. The call is no longer a whisper, it turned into a scream. And if you've heard this far, it's because you're ready. Ready to act, ready to transform. Because waking up without action is like lighting a flame and not lighting anyone with it. So, what are you going to do with all this that you've just discovered? Are you going to keep waiting for something out there to change for you? Or will you honor that inner call that is screaming inside your chest, asking to be heard? The time has come to act with awareness, transform with intention, and live authentically. The universe has already done its part, now it's up to you. Will you continue to hide behind doubt, or will you trust your intuition? Will you continue to mold yourself to please others, or will you live your real mission? Tell me here in the comments, which of these signs hit you the most? Which part of your journey is calling for movement? And of course, if that made sense to you, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell, because the next transformation starts in the next video.